Zach and Clark, great to have you on the program.
Thanks, Jenny.
Zach, I know that you were put on administrative leave by the University of Utah as soon as you and another officer went public with a university policy that outlines how officers are to deal with law-abiding citizens carrying guns on campus. Why did you feel it was so important to go public with this information, although the university obviously didn't want anybody to know about it?
Well, I felt that people on campus, if the university is creating laws, that people should know about those laws.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at it, if nobody knows about the policy, how are they going to know they're violating it?
It puts gun owners in a bad situation.
Mm-hmm. Clark, your reaction when you heard about this?
Yeah, this is unfortunately, it doesn't surprise me about the University of Utah. This is how the university likes to deal with things. They take a no-holds-barred attitude on their policies, and then will only change their policies after the Supreme Court or somebody comes down heavy-handed on them. They know that these secret policies are not appropriate, especially in this day and age when we have more transparency, more openness in government. They're the only ones that are bucking the trend in this case.
Yeah. And Zach, when you look at this, the internal guidelines, you sent them to the AG and to members of the legislature. What was their reaction when they got them?
It's pretty much all around the kind of dismay, would put it.
Mm-hmm. But what was it? What were they asking you to do? As far as when you see somebody with a firearm on campus, whether it was a student, a faculty member, a visitor, what were they asking?
They wanted to immediately be reported to the police department, and everybody within the chain of command be notified right away.
Because I was reading from the president's letter that was included in some of these documents, and the president of the university, he makes clear in this letter, he says, guns have no place in the classroom or on the campus. And he claims he has the authority to impose this. And he says that you as officers are supposed to take whatever action is necessary. So what are you supposed to, are you supposed to arrest people? What are you going to be doing?
Well, they don't want to arrest them for the firearms. They want to arrest them for trespassing. So they want to skirt around the issue by telling the person, hey, you need to conceal your firearm. If they refuse to, then it's a trespassing issue.
Mm-hmm. So, Clark, you hear that. Is this just a way the university is trying to get around state law and also a decision by the Supreme Court that said you can't do what you're trying to do out there?
Certainly. Like I said, they find any way they can to skirt the law. This is an entity, the higher education, the University of Utah, who should be an example of obeying the laws. And we find that they're the first ones to try to find some perception of a way around doing this. If it's supposedly based on statute, which they list a lot of statute, it doesn't necessarily apply, and their interpretation is skewed. But then if it is based on statute, why is it secret? We're talking about detaining someone, arresting them, holding them at gunpoint, indeed, taking away their liberties. This should be clear as to what a person can do or can't do to not run afoul of the law.
It's pretty amazing. From what I understand, if you've got a gun and you're concealed carrying, and if by accident, you pull your jacket open and your gun shows, you're in trouble.
Exactly.
Correct.
Even the accidental or inadvertent display of this firearm would cause you to run afoul of their skewed policy.
Zach, go ahead.
Correct. And then also, students would also face additional problems with through administrative hearings through their school. So the dean would become involved based on this, too, as well.
And you got to worry about a record again.
Correct.
Yeah. I know you've done this. So what happens to you now? You're on administrative leave. What happens next? When do you find out whether you go back?
I'm waiting for a HR hearing for me and the other officer involved, and then basically the university will make that decision whether or not we violated the University of Utah policy, and ultimately could lead up to being fired.
Here you are, you're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to let the public know about a policy they should know about, and you're the bad guy in all of this.
Yep.
Clark, your thoughts on that?
Well, this is exactly why whistleblower statutes were enacted many years ago, because of punitive actions taken against employees that were trying to right a wrong, or at least not even trying to right a wrong, but trying to bring to light a skewed policy, and I know that Representative Kurt Oda, who is a good champion of these kind of rights, has said that sunshine is the best disinfectant for these kind of things, and that's what we want. We just want some sunshine, some light spread onto this type of thing, and without folks like Zach Wellman, we wouldn't have even known about it.
You know, and Zach, you got the president of the university making it sound like open carry, concealed carry is a problem. Has it been a problem?
You know, we really have had no incidents on the campus except for students being detained by police, and then they went through administrative hearings.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, go ahead.
So basically, you know, in hindsight, no, it's not been an issue, but nobody's tested the waters either.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Clark, what needs to happen as a result of someone like Zach being put on administrative leave and his job at risk?
Well, it's certainly going to put a chill on anyone else who would seek to identify anywhere in the state, let alone the University of Utah's policies. They're going to be, you know, paranoid about speaking out.
Mm-hmm.
And the university, or the Utah Shooting Sports Council, will stand behind and has stood behind Zach and the other officer, and we're pushing this thing. We will be meeting with the Attorney General and the other legislators regarding this.
I mean, it's pretty amazing, Zach. You know, this is not the first time you've got this university doing this, thumbing their nose at the state law, at the Supreme Court. What do you want to see happen?
I want to see the University of Utah obey state law. I want to see them look at the laws and just obey the law, and not not try to skirt around issues, but obey the law.
I mean, they'll do anything they have to do, it sounds like, to try to not permit people who have law-abiding permits to be on that campus with a firearm, even though state law says you can do it, both concealed and open.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to ask you, Zach, what do you think would have happened if you had not come public with this policy, this information?
Well, the university would have continued violating people's rights. They would have continued with their anti-gun laws until somebody came along, not knowing the law, and had to fight this on their own, with their own legal, put their own everything at risk to fight a misdemeanor charge. Yeah.
Clark, your thoughts on that?
I think it's true. I think they would have had tacit approval for inaction. The University of Utah would have just continued and probably gotten a lot worse. They need to be. What needs to happen is immediately they need to cease this secret policy in the first place, and as such, when they do that, their policy will be reviewed as it should be by Administrative Rules Committee of Legislature and so on and so forth. They have so far right now refused what they call a Government Records Access Management Act, a GRAMA Act, which is supposed to let people see what's going on in government. They refused to include this policy in that, stating security concerns. Well, there are no. I mean, I can see certain security concerns for, say, a presidential visit or certain essential type things like that, but this is not one of those things.
Well, I'll tell you, it's going to be very interesting to see what the AG does with this.
We're confident the AG has a history of standing up for the people's rights and the U.S. and Utah Constitution, and so does the Utah Supreme Court. So I think it's clear what's going to happen. It's unfortunate that we have to go this route every time the university enacts a policy like this.
And Zach, I'm sure you have all sorts of concerns, I know, about, keeping your job and being able to provide for your family. And I'm sure, you can't wait to hear whether you're going to be allowed to go back to work. I sure hope you can.
I hope so, too.
Yeah, but we commend you for doing what you do. It's pretty amazing that they've got a policy that affects the public, but they don't want the public to know about it. It's
sad. It's, a violation of, students not knowing anything, or staff or faculty being left in the dark.
Well, thanks for standing up for them, and keep us posted. You think you're going to hear out this week? When do you think?
I should hear this week for sure what's going to happen.
All righty. Well, Clark, we'll stay in touch, and Zach, we'll keep our fingers crossed for you.